Hello students, and welcome to the second video. The first video was about 7 minutes, and you should have been able to take your notes and figure out that it was going to be about, 15 minutes. So we should have about 15-20 minutes left in class. As we get to that 15-20 minutes left in class, we're going to finish up cellular respiration by talking about what's called the electron transport chain. The electron transport chain is the third step of cellular respiration. It occurs also in the mitochondria, just like the Krebs cycle. So in that mitochondria, here's this football-shaped like item. You're going to have the Krebs cycle. The Krebs cycle is going to be making a whole slew of FADH2s and NADHs. The body likes those, but they don't like them as much as what is ATP. So the goal of the electron transport chain is to produce the most ATP. I like how some of you guys are following along on your notes to see that I've given you that the electron transport chain is the third step. It occurs in the mitochondria. It produces the most ATP, and it is where we're going to be using oxygen. So this is the bam wow of why we are breathing. We need it for one little step inside of our mitochondria. So this is what is called aerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration means we are using oxygen. So in your notes, it has blank respiration. Because of this little oxygen right here and right here, we call this aerobic. A-E-R-O-B-I-C, aerobic respiration. We hadn't used this. In glycolysis, in Krebs cycle, we had not used oxygen. Now is the last step, and it's where we use our oxygen. And what's going to happen is that all of these little hydrogens are going to be moving through the membrane of the mitochondria and going to make a bunch of ATPs. So, let's talk it through. Our Krebs cycle is going to be going around and around and around. It's going to be breaking off carbon dioxides, making a whole bunch of FADHs and NADHs. Inside of our mitochondria, then, the concentration is going to get high of these guys. These guys then are going to have enzymes that break off their hydrogens. Those hydrogens don't want to stay in here, and they leave. So then we start to get this huge concentration of hydrogens on the outer membrane of the mitochondria. That huge concentrations of hydrogen cause too much. And so just like with osmosis, we're moving from a high concentration to a low concentration. These hydrogens that are made from the NADHs, when they break off, some of the hydrogens will go this way, some of the hydrogens will go this way. The majority of them are going to go out here, and as they get out there, it just gets too much. And as it gets too much, we then move these hydrogens back into the middle. And when we do that, it has this little thing called ATP synthase, and it changes an ADP into an ATP. We actually, for every NADH, we will change 3 ADPs into ATPs. 3 ATPs. So at 1 NADH equals 3 ATPs. 1 FADH2, when it breaks off and those hydrogens then leave us and go through, we will produce 2 ATPs. Well, when all this is happening, we start to get an imbalance of hydrogens. And this is why we breathe. As we start to pump too much oxygen or hydrogens up here and we start to move them back through, and when we do that, this little synthase, which is the wrench, it grabs ADP and wrenches together some ATPs. Our hydrogens on the inside here bond up with oxygen. And as hydrogens bond up with oxygen, they form water. And that oxygen then is turned into water and is our last product of cellular respiration. This complicated process is basically broken down into 3 steps then. One, our NADHs are broken down into NADs. Those NADs, the hydrogens are released into a little space. They get too much in that space, and when we push those hydrogens back through, it forces ADPs to be turned to ATPs. Ebony had a great question on Friday with McKenna, and the question was, well, what is ATP? ATP is our energy. It is what allows us to do everything from ignore this video to pay attention to this video and have questions. On your notes, you can go find a cool picture like this that might help you a little bit more than what I have. Make sure you find it where you're looking for those NADHs and FADH2s to be breaking apart and ADPs to be turned into ATPs and oxygens turned into water. So go on to Google and finish up this little lecture by finding a good little picture. So good luck, and your notes should be filled out all the way to the section that says what process do we go through when we don't have enough oxygen. So you should have now glycolysis, Krebs, and electron transport chain filled out.